Hi, I'm Alan Smith and welcome to the show. Well, there's no secret that life can be hectic, especially if you have children. So in today's show, what we thought we would do is take a look at some ways that you can put a positive spin on daily life, improve your lifestyle in healthy ways without breaking the bank. Whether you grow some of your own food or shop at the market, you won't believe how simple it is to make a few lifestyle adjustments that pay off in the long run for the overall well-being of your family. So are you ready to get healthy and happy? I know I am. Let's get started. It seems like we hear the word organic a lot these days, but what does it actually mean when it comes to gardening? Well, for starters, organic horticulture relies on the use of only natural fertilizers and pesticides, avoiding anything that's synthetic. I don't know about you, but it's important to me to know what goes into my plants in my garden as well as into my body. So that's why I always lean toward organic. Now, if that's not a good enough reason for you, there are some other reasons that you may want to consider why organic is really the way to go. Well, you know, it's a no-brainer that fresh foods are better for you. They have a much higher nutritional value and much better taste. And if you're growing them organically, you also don't have to worry about toxic chemicals in your food. Another benefit to going organic is that, well, it's good for the environment. You see, you can take care of your plants at the same time not add harmful chemicals to the water supply affecting birds, small animals, and even insects. And if you're making or using organic compost, that just means you're reducing the amount of organic matter that ends up in the landfills. Plus, you're just enriching your soil, so your plants are happier. So is there any doubt left in your mind that organic gardening is best? Stronger, healthier plants, which means a, well, happier, healthier you. What's not to like about that? Coming up, Chef Alexis Jones shows us 5 sauces that will spruce up any dish.
And Bernaise is used a lot on steaks, asparagus. It's really a fancier version of hollandaise.
And later, the benefits of growing your own food. Stay with us. Alexis, can you believe all the tomatoes?
Oh, they're beautiful.
They're just gorgeous. This is a variety called Juliet, and now that it's cooled off a little bit, we're getting a second wave of tomatoes. Very exciting.
Yeah, last tomatoes of the year.
Indeed. You know, the tomato is such a basic, it's a fundamental plant in our garden, and Juliet always shows up because she's so abundant. But I think that, you know, if we could all learn basic plants and basic techniques, it makes life easier and more fun.
Yeah,
and
grow it yourself, right.
Indeed. So today you're going to talk a little bit about some really fundamental sauces.
Yeah, we'll talk about the mother sauces, the Escoffier's 5 French sauces. So,
wonderful.
Yeah.
The fundamentals, sauces 101.
Sauces 101, and then maybe some derivatives.
Can't wait to see what you come up with.
Great, looking forward to it.
Put those tomatoes to good use.
Sounds good.
Wonderful.
Today we are covering the 5 mother sauces. They are the basis of most French sauces, and they are simply a fat, a flour, and a liquid. And so our first one is bechamel. Bechamel is a white roux. It's equal parts flour and butter and milk. And it is the basis for sauces for lasagna and macaroni and cheese. And you can make cheese sauce just by adding Parmesan or Gruyere to it. So we'll add a little bit, and now it's Mornay. And our second sauce, velouté, is very similar to bechamel. It's also started with a blonde roux, so equal parts fat and flour, and then you can use a white stock. It can be chicken, fish, or vegetable as long as the bones haven't been roasted. Third, we have espagnole. Espagnole is also called brown sauce. You start with the brown roux, so you're going to cook the flour and butter until the roux is mahogany consistency. And from here, you'll add either a beef or veal stock. So it's used a lot for meat sauces. And fourth, we have hollandaise. Hollandaise is one of the only mother sauces that's actually used as is. Hollandaise is thickened with egg yolks. So it's egg yolks and clarified butter, and then it's finished with lemon. The butter is clarified by cooking it and skimming off all the milk fats. You can change hollandaise to béarnaise by adding chervil, tarragon, and shallots to it. So we'll just add that in. And béarnaise is used a lot on steaks, asparagus. It's really a fancier version of hollandaise. And you can use white wine instead of lemon if you'd like, but that'll stop the cooking process. And our last sauce is tomato. I've got shallots, carrots, celery, and some red peppers and rosemary. And we're gonna take our Juliet tomatoes that we have roasted and came straight from the garden. So we're just gonna add this. We've already cooked down our vegetables to get a little caramelization on them, and add a little bit of chicken stock to it. You can use vegetable stock if you're trying to keep it vegetarian. And then we're gonna go straight into the food processor with it. All right. Tomato is probably the sauce you're most familiar with. All right. You can add a little heavy cream if you like, but I just think it needs a little salt. And now you have your basics for your mother sauces.
After the break, we'll take a look at how you can add a splash of color to your vegetable garden. Stay tuned. I love growing vegetables, and I love growing flowers, and I love growing them together because, well, they all just kind of can hang together and be very beautiful and also very useful. For instance, just look at this border that I planted with pansies. Yes, pansies are edible flowers, not bad. You can see here I've let mustard bolt and has a beautiful yellow flower on it. Lovely addition to a salad. But if you dig down in here, I want to show you a little technique that I follow. I go through in the spring and I integrate some of the marigolds into this bed, and you can see them tucked in here. But what will happen as these flowers fade, as temperatures go up, I'll cut out all of the pansy and viola plants, which will give an opportunity for these marigold plants to really expand and knit together, and they'll make a full summer border that will be gorgeous all the way until fall. And then there are ways to get creative with flowers and vegetables or edibles in the vegetable garden through containers. And here I've got a container in the center of these raised beds where I've added some flowers, this wonderful little Senorita Rosalita Cleome with a sweet potato vine. But in the center is lemongrass, a wonderful edible, a great addition to teas and all sorts of Asian dishes. While you may think this is a large container, I really go off the charts with some of them, to the point of putting a structure, a tutor, or a support in the middle to grow things like hyacinth bean vine, which, by the way, is edible, and accenting the feet of this with some beautiful purple eggplant, as well as some bloomers. The main thing to do is just to think creatively and plant plants that you love to eat, but you also love the way the plant looks. For instance, look at these containers of blueberries. Yes, they do really well in containers. This one is called Pink Icing, and I just love its soft pink new foliage here. And then this one back here is called Blueberry Glaze. I love its short, compact habit. Both beautiful plants and a sweet combination of delicious edibles. Give them a try. Coming up, how to select the proper containers for your edibles. Some plants, like this beautiful lavender, really like good drainage. They don't like wet feet. And still to come, entrepreneur Shelley Green invites us into her Green Corner Store. There are so many edibles you can grow in containers. In fact, many plants actually prefer it. But there are a few things you want to know in choosing the best container for whatever you plan to grow. For instance, bigger is always better. You see, it's important that the roots have plenty of room to grow, but maybe even more importantly, to require less frequent watering. I know that's a major issue for many gardeners these days. Remember, when choosing the size of a container, most vegetables are going to need at least a 5-gallon vessel, while herbs, lettuce, and similar shallow-rooted plants can be grown in smaller containers. Now, while this idea of bigger is better is good for the plants, you need to think about the weight of the containers themselves, particularly if you're on a rooftop or a balcony. And if you ever plan on moving the planter or bringing it inside for winter, it's best to use a material like a food-grade plastic. It'll be easier on your back when you move them around, and it might just save you a trip to the chiropractor. I know what you're thinking, plastic? Won't those fade or deteriorate in the sunlight? Well, these won't. I like to use Crescent Garden rotationally molded planters that are guaranteed up to 10 years. These will resist cracking, and with a double wall design, they make great insulators for your plants in the heat and cold. These planters will also hold water longer than most porous materials, again, saving you time and money. Probably the best bit of advice I can give you is to make sure that your container has adequate drainage. You see, some plants, like this beautiful lavender, really like good drainage. They don't like wet feet, so keep that in mind. So for you gardeners who have really bad soil or no soil at all or very little room, growing edibles in containers may be just the ticket. And think about it this way, you can keep them really close to your kitchen door. How handy is that? I hope you'll give them a try. If you were to take a drive down Main Street in my hometown of Little Rock, Arkansas, you'll have a hard time missing one of my favorite local shops, the Green Corner Store. Inside this century-old building, one can find an assortment of environmentally friendly goods, many of which are handcrafted by local artisans. You may have a store like this in your own community. Here, they even have a working soda fountain serving up delicious ice cream daily using fresh, local, and seasonal ingredients. Owner Shelley Green tells us more.
I opened the Green Corner store because I wanted a place where we could have an independent local retailer that was really showcasing the local entrepreneurs and their creativity. We have a lot of Arkansas-made products and food products and crafts and clothing and other things. We've really accumulated many different artisans, and we've helped to mentor Arkansas-made products so they are ready for the marketplace. The store really stands for a platform to advocate for green living, to have healthier lifestyles. Everything that's brought into the store is about that. So the green, sustainable, organic part of it, it also happens to be my last name. So the building we're in has been here for 110 years. We're sort of taking it back to its roots because originally, for the first 70 years of its life, it was a drugstore, pharmacy, and soda fountain. And now we have a wellness department and trying to encourage people to eat healthy foods, not have a lot of additives in their food, and we have an operating soda fountain. The great thing about that is the ice cream itself is made locally, and it uses locally made products that are sourced whenever possible from farmers in Arkansas. We wanted to prove that you can support your local neighborhood, and we're located in an area that's walkable, that has public transportation. We have workshops, and we help to educate the customer on living a greener lifestyle, on the importance of shopping locally. We do host a lot of times our local farmers that are making other products or sampling. We educate people on all phases of the food chain.
Up next, the benefits of growing your own food. Okay, I could go on and on about giving you reasons why you ought to grow some of your own food, because I'm a guy that just loves to grow things. But there's some real simple and practical reasons. I mean, nutrition and money, expense, that gets everybody's attention. Hey, if you grow your food organically, you don't have to worry about how it was grown. I don't know about you, but I don't like to eat things that have been sprayed with synthetic pesticides. More and more chefs are using organically grown foods that are produced locally. Just makes sense, huh? You see, organic farming starts with caring for the soil. The soil needs to be nourished, which eventually leads to the nourishment of the plant, and then that provides the nourishment our bodies need. Growing some of your own fruits, vegetables, and herbs can, if grown properly, help you reduce your grocery bill. But hey, I've actually grown some $75 tomatoes before, so you can let the expenses get way out of hand, so you have to kind of watch that. But take herbs, for instance. All you have to do is go in the grocery store and look at how much a packet of fresh cut herbs are. Well, you can buy a plant for that. Depending on where you live, you could plant one rosemary plant and have rosemary for decades from that single plant. Want to learn more? Visit pallansmith.com for delicious recipes, garden tips, blog posts, and our online store. Well, that's all the time we have for today's show. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. The whole idea here was to come up with some creative ways to put healthy food on the table and to save a little money along the way. It's so important for us to eat in season and to support our local producers. Now, I know everyone can't go out and grow all of their food, but if you can just grow a little of it, there's something very fulfilling about that. Whether you enjoy getting your hands in the soil and growing some of your own food, or if you buy it at your local market from a local producer, it doesn't really matter. You're moving in the right direction. The main thing is we just want to eat healthier. We want to avoid those overly processed foods. Until next time, I'm Alan Smith. Oh, coming up. Okay, here we go. And still to come, entrepreneur Shelley Green, entrepreneur.
Action.
And if you're making or using your own compost,
And action.
And if you're making or using your own compost, well, you're reducing that much more that goes, okay?
Action.
And if you're using,
Action.
and if you're using or even making your own compost, that means that is that.
Action.